flickering screen, a dead link, a website that once existed in the depths of the internet until the FBI tore it down. But those who saw what was inside wish they never had. Most people think they know the dark side of the internet, but what you see on the surface is nothing compared to what lies beneath. What starts as curiosity quickly turns into something much darker. And once you enter, it's already too late.
What's the matter?
Level 1. The surface web's strange secrets. 1. A Westbyte named 7 times y.info, the internet's most bizarre rabbit hole.
You will have a wild internet rabbit hole to go explore. But before we get into that story, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you come to the right place because that's all we do.
Click. A white screen. No instructions, no navigation, just a mess of flashing images, distorted faces, and cryptic symbols. Every refresh changes everything. But the deeper you go, the less it feel like a joke. That's why .info for you. This site is pure internet absurdity, a place where logic and meaning are completely thrown out the window. The second you load it up, you're greeted with a bizarre mix of images, GIFs, and videos that seem to have no connection whatsoever. Then, when you refresh the page, everything changes. It's like an endless cycle of madness, each refresh bringing you something new and equally confusing. At first, it just seems like a harmless digital collage, but the deeper you go, the weirder it gets. Some of the images and videos are creepy, unsettling, or downright disturbing. You might see glitched out faces, strange animations, or old, grainy video clips that feel like they belong in a found footage horror movie. Other times, it's just pure nonsense. Random memes, oddly stretched out pictures of celebrities, or weirdly edited versions of famous paintings. It's like a junkyard of internet oddities, where anything and everything can appear at any time. One of the most intriguing parts of the website is the 3 floating shapes at the bottom of the page. At first glance, they seem meaningless, just another part of the site's weird aesthetic. But clicking on them reveals something unexpected: an NFT marketplace. Yes, buried within all the randomness, there's a section selling digital artwork as NFTs, priced at 1 Ethereum each. At the time of discovery, that was about $2,000 US. Imagine scrolling through a site full of absolute nonsense, only to find an NFT marketplace casually tucked away inside. It raises the question, who in the world is buying these? And more importantly, why? There's no official explanation for what .info is supposed to be, which only adds to its mystery. Is it an art project? A social experiment? A prank by some anonymous internet genius? No one knows. The site's design doesn't offer any clues, and there's no about page, no contact info, and no clear creator behind it. It's just there, existing in its little corner of the internet, confusing and unsettling anyone who stumbles upon it. Level 2. The cheating website that got exposed.
You gotta shut down AshleyMadison.com and other shady websites that you guys operate, or else we're gonna leak this information. Now, it's already been confirmed that the hackers have gotten their hands on this data. Ashley Madison's Canadian parent.
If there was ever a website designed to destroy relationships, Ashley Madison would be it. Unlike your typical dating site, which is meant to bring single people together, Ashley Madison was built for one specific purpose: helping married people cheat. The site proudly advertised itself with the slogan, "Life is short. Have an affair." There was no sugarcoating it. This wasn't a place for romance or long-term connections. It was a hub for infidelity. The site launched in 2001 and quickly became one of the most controversial platforms on the internet. While other dating sites worked hard to remove fake profiles and bots, Ashley Madison thrived on them. It was later revealed that a large number of female profiles on the site were completely fake, created to keep male users engaged and spending money. But despite its shady business model, the website was extremely popular, with millions of users worldwide looking for secret affairs. Then came the disaster that changed everything. In 2015, a group of hackers known as the Impact Team decided they had a problem with Ashley Madison's business model. They weren't upset about the cheating. They were furious about how the company lied to its users. The site offered a full delete service, where users could pay $19 to have all of their data removed. The only problem? It was a scam. Even after paying for their profiles to be erased, users' data was still stored on the company's servers. The hackers decided to expose the site's dirty secrets in the worst way possible. They broke into Ashley Madison's database and stole personal information belonging to over 30 million users. This included names, email addresses, phone numbers, and even credit card details. Then they made a threat. If the company didn't shut down Ashley Madison, they would release all the data to the public. A few weeks later, the hackers leaked the data online. Suddenly, the internet had full access to a list of millions of people who had tried to cheat on their spouses. It wasn't just ordinary people who got caught. Celebrities, politicians, and even high-profile executives were exposed. News articles were written, marriages were destroyed, and some users reportedly even took their own lives after being outed. The company behind Ashley Madison scrambled to do damage control, but the damage had already been done. Their reputation was permanently ruined, and they were hit with multiple lawsuits from angry users who had trusted them with their secrets. Despite this, the website still exists today, though it claims to have stronger security and better user protection. But after what happened in 2015, it's hard to imagine anyone trusting them again. Ashley Madison is a perfect example of how no secret is truly safe online. People thought they were signing up for discreet affairs, only to have their names blasted across the internet for the whole world to see. It's a reminder that even in the darkest corners of the web, there's always a chance that the truth will come out. Level 3. The Global Murder Map.
Igarapé shows homicide rates around the world. Want to go to a country with a very low homicide rate? Try Monaco, Liechtenstein, or Singapore.
Some of the scariest things on the internet have nothing to do with ghosts, monsters, or horror games. Instead, they deal with something far more terrifying: real life. That's exactly why the Homicide Monitor is one of the most disturbing websites out there. It doesn't try to shock you with jump scares or unsettling images. Instead, it lays out the cold, hard truth about murder rates across the world, and the statistics are enough to send chills down your spine. The Homicide Monitor is an interactive map that tracks murder statistics in almost every country, offering real-time data on where the most homicides occur. At first, it might just seem like another educational tool, something researchers or journalists would use. But once you start digging into the numbers, it quickly becomes clear that some places are far deadlier than others.
9 of these may not be all that surprising. Brazil, India, Nigeria, Mexico, the Democratic Republic of Congo, South Africa, Venezuela, Colombia, and Pakistan. But can you guess the last? It is the United States, which is
One of the most shocking revelations is the level of violence in Latin America. The region makes up only 8% of the world's population, yet it accounts for 28% of all global homicides. That number is staggering. Brazil alone saw 48,000 murders in a single year, making it the country with the highest number of homicides on the planet. The vast majority of these killings, 71%, were committed using firearms, showing just how deeply gun violence is embedded in certain parts of the world. The website also tracks how murders have changed over time. During the COVID-19 pandemic, many people expected crime rates to drop due to lockdowns and social restrictions. In some countries, they did, but in others, the numbers barely changed. In the Americas, homicides only fell by 3% in 2020, proving that violence doesn't take a break, even during a global crisis. One of the more haunting aspects of the site is the way it breaks down murder statistics in detail. You can filter homicides by gender, weapon type.
And I'm Christine Johnson. The shooting happened outside a Brooklyn apartment building. Police say the woman just walked up and then opened fire.
Or even the relationship between the victim and the killer. It highlights grim realities, like the fact that women are far more likely to be murdered by someone they know, often a partner or family member. Meanwhile, young men are the most common victims of gang-related and street violence. Level 4. Hotel 626, the horror game that called your phone. Horror games are designed to scare you, but Hotel 626 took things to a completely different level. This wasn't just some game with creepy sound effects and jump scares. It broke the fourth wall, reaching out beyond the screen and into real life. It didn't just try to scare you, it made sure you felt like you were part of the nightmare. The game was only available between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m., adding to the sense of mystery. You couldn't just play it whenever you wanted. You had to wait until it was dark, creating an eerie sense of anticipation. The second you entered, you found yourself trapped in a haunted hotel, and the only way out was to survive a series of terrifying challenges. The first thing that made Hotel 626 different from other horror games was how deeply it involved the player. One of the challenges required you to use your webcam, which meant the game could see you. At first, it seemed harmless, just an extra layer of interactivity. But then, it took things further. At one point, you had to find a specific photograph in a dark room, filled with dozens of scattered pictures. The twist? The game had secretly taken a photo of you using your webcam. And there it was, sitting among the other pictures, making it feel like you were actually inside the haunted hotel. As if that wasn't creepy enough, the game also called your phone in real life. During one of the most intense moments, you receive a real phone call from the game, with a voice whispering instructions on how to escape. Imagine playing a horror game late at night, already on edge, and then suddenly your phone starts ringing, with the game itself trying to talk to you. It was the kind of scare that stayed with you long after you turned the game off. Level 5, the mystery man that haunts dreams.
If you're hung up on him during the day and you dream about your ex, that means one thing. But if you're like, no, I've really moved on, and a lover pops up in your dream, I think that's just a solar flare of desire. I wouldn't make much of that.
Imagine waking up from a dream, shaken, remembering every detail, only to find out that thousands of people across the world have seen the same face in their dreams too. That's the eerie premise behind thisman.org, a website dedicated to one of the internet's strangest urban legends. The story begins with a sketch of an average-looking man, a bald head, thick eyebrows, and a neutral but slightly unsettling expression. The website claims that this face has appeared in dreams of people from different parts of the world, often in bizarre or unexplained scenarios. What's even creepier? Most of these people had never met or even seen the man in real life. Many theories are trying to explain why so many people have dreamed about him. One idea suggests that our subconscious minds share common symbols, meaning that we all might create similar dream figures based on deep-rooted patterns in our brains. This would explain why some people believe they've seen this man, even if they have no actual connection to him. Another theory dives into the supernatural. Some believe this man is a mystical entity, capable of entering people's dreams like a kind of interdimensional traveler. This idea paints him as something beyond human, a being that watches us in our most vulnerable state, appearing when we least expect him. Some dreamers claim he gives cryptic messages, warnings, or even comforting advice. Others say he simply stands in the background, watching. Level 6. Insecom, the website that spies on you. Insecom is a terrifying example of how careless people can be with their privacy. The cameras featured on the site aren't hacked, they're just left completely unprotected. Many security cameras come with default usernames and passwords like admin or 1234, and if the owners don't bother to change them, anyone can access the live feed. Insecom takes advantage of this by collecting these open streams and making them publicly available for anyone to view. What makes it even worse is that the website organizes the cameras by country and location. You can search through different regions and find thousands of feeds, ranging from empty office buildings to private homes. Some of the cameras even have pan and zoom controls, allowing visitors to move the camera in real time as if they were physically there. It's a level of digital voyeurism that feels straight out of a thriller movie, except it's completely real. While many of the feeds show harmless public spaces like parking lots and construction sites, some of them capture disturbingly private moments. People sitting at their desks, walking through their kitchens, children playing in their yards, completely unaware that they are being watched by strangers online. Level 7. Rent a Hitman, the fake assassin site that caught real criminals. A website called Rent a Hitman sounds like a joke, and at first, that's exactly what it was supposed to be. It was created as a fake IT security business, a play on the term hit, as in website hits. But something bizarre happened. People thought it was real. Not only that, but they tried to hire contract killers through the website. Bob Innes, the man behind Rent a Hitman, first created the site in 2005 for a failed business idea. He let the domain sit untouched for a while, assuming nobody would take it seriously. But years later, when he checked the site's emails, he was shocked to see that real people were requesting hits on others. Some were asking for a spouse, boss, or even family member to be eliminated, thinking they had stumbled onto a professional assassin network. At first, Innes wasn't sure what to do, but then he had an idea: turn it into a trap for criminals. Instead of shutting down the site, he started cooperating with law enforcement. Anytime someone placed a real request for a murder, Innes would play along, collecting their name, contact information, and target details. Then, he would forward the case to the police, leading to multiple arrests. One of the most shocking cases involved a woman named Helen, who wanted to have her ex-husband and his new wife killed. She filled out the online form, listing their names, addresses, and even specific details about how she wanted the hit to be carried out. Innes passed her information to the authorities, and she was arrested and charged with solicitation of murder. Another case involved a mother trying to hire a hitman to kill her son. Her reasoning? She thought he was wasting his life and wanted him gone. Again, the request went straight to the police, and she was quickly arrested. The website remains online today, complete with ridiculous fake testimonials from supposed satisfied clients, like a businessman who claims he got rid of his competitors, and a woman who says she had her cheating husband taken care of. It's all meant to be obvious satire, but people still fall for it. Despite clear warnings all over the site that it's a joke, criminals continue to submit real requests, proving just how unbelievably dumb some people can be. Over the years, Rent a Hitman has led to multiple arrests, making it one of the strangest and most effective police sting operations on the internet. Level 8. Pink Meth, the Revenge, website from hell. Some websites are just plain evil, and Pink Meth was one of the worst. It wasn't just disturbing, it was designed to ruin lives. The website allowed people to anonymously upload explicit photos of their exes, often along with their real names, social media links, and personal details. Once a photo was posted, there was no way to remove it. It was a digital prison of humiliation, and victims had no way out. Unlike other revenge sites that quietly operated in the dark corners of the internet, Pink Meth actively encouraged harassment. It wasn't just about posting pictures. It was about publicly shaming people, ruining reputations, and even blackmailing victims. Many of the people whose photos ended up on the site had no idea how they got there. Some had their accounts hacked, while others were betrayed by someone they once trusted. The site was designed to be as cruel as possible. If a victim begged to have their pictures removed, they were met with a mocking removal process. The site's creators forced them to write long, humiliating apology letters, basically blaming themselves for the situation. Even after that, there was no guarantee their photos would be taken down. It wasn't just psychological torture. It was also a breeding ground for extortion and abuse. Some users of the site would track down victims and offer to help them remove their photos for a price. Others used the site to blackmail people, demanding money, favors, or more explicit content to prevent their pictures from spreading further. As the website grew more infamous, it caught the attention of law enforcement. Privacy advocates, lawyers, and human rights activists demanded its shutdown. But the site's operators were hidden behind layers of anonymity. They operated through dark web servers, making it incredibly difficult to track them down. The breakthrough came in 2014, when a major FBI-led operation took down multiple illegal websites, including Pink Meth. In one of the biggest crackdowns on revenge websites and dark web crime, Pink Meth was completely wiped from existence. Some of the people behind the site were identified and arrested, while others vanished into the dark web, possibly setting up similar websites under different names. Level 9. 5N Chronicles, the blog of a serial killer. Most blogs are about things like travel, cooking, or personal development, but 5N Chronicles was something entirely different. It was a real-time window into the mind of a convicted serial killer, a blog that turned into an eerie and disturbing online diary. The man behind it? Dr. Joseph Edward Duncan III, a criminal whose name is tied to some of the most horrific crimes in modern history. Duncan was no ordinary criminal. He was a violent predator and murderer, responsible for multiple kidnappings, assaults, and killings. His crimes spanned decades, but he is most infamous for a horrifying series of events in 2005, where he murdered a family in Idaho and kidnapped 2 young children. His capture led to the discovery of even more victims, making him one of the most notorious serial killers in the United States. The strangest and most unsettling part of this story is that while he was in federal prison, he continued to communicate with the outside world through his blog, 5EN Chronicles. Unlike the sensationalized serial killer stories you might see in movies, Duncan's blog wasn't written in some dramatic or sinister way. Instead, it was casual, almost mundane. He talked about his daily life in prison, his health issues, his thoughts on justice, and even things like hair loss and weight changes. Reading his posts felt like listening to an ordinary person complain about everyday problems, except that this man was a monster. Occasionally, his posts revealed his distorted worldview. He wrote about his past crimes, sometimes trying to justify them, other times detaching himself from them completely. He spoke about the inner workings of his mind, discussing how he viewed life and death. He wrote about his desire to understand himself, but instead of showing regret or remorse, his words carried an unnerving lack of emotion. One of the most disturbing aspects of the blog was how ordinary he tried to make himself seem. Serial killers are often portrayed as shadowy, psychotic figures, but Duncan's blog showed that evil doesn't always look the way we expect. He wasn't ranting about violence or screaming into the void. He was just writing like any other blogger would, discussing his thoughts as if he were anyone else. Except, he wasn't. Level 10. WorldCorpo.net, the website that shouldn't exist. Some of the darkest places on the internet aren't hidden in encrypted forums or buried in the dark web. Sometimes, they exist right in the open, waiting. WorldCorpo.net was one of those places, a website with no clear purpose, no official explanation, just a collection of unsettling, cryptic, and deeply disturbing content. It was as if someone had carved out a corner of the internet designed to make people feel unsafe. No context, no warnings, just nightmare fuel on demand. The videos, glitches, whispers, and the unexplainable. The first thing people noticed about WorldCorpo.net was its videos. Low quality, distorted, often featuring music that sounded like it was recorded in another dimension. Some were almost nonsensical, random animations, eerie landscapes, flickering symbols, but others felt deliberate. Some videos showed rooms with no people, but distant sounds of breathing. Some had figures wearing masks, standing completely still for hours. Some had voiceovers, but the words were layered backward, warped beyond recognition. At first, it seemed like just another abstract art project. But then, people started digging deeper. And the more they found, the worse it got. The allegations, the darkness below the surface. Rumors spread that some of WorldCorpo's content wasn't just creepy, it was real. Hidden within its labyrinth of cryptic videos and encrypted links were whispers of something much darker. Allegedly, some videos contain child-related material, enough to send entire online communities into panic. Investigators tried to connect the website to real-world criminal activities, but no solid proof was ever uncovered. Still, the accusations refused to die. Some users reported encrypted messages hidden in the site's code. Strange links that led to even more disturbing places. It was an internet rabbit hole that had no bottom, because no matter how far people dug, no one could explain why it existed. What was WorldCorpo.net? And why did it vanish? Some believed it was an art project, a twisted social experiment meant to push people's limits. Others thought it was something more sinister, a front for hidden activities masked by absurdity. The strangest part? One day, it was just gone. No explanation, no takedown notice, no farewell message. As if it was never meant to be found in the first place.